Do you guys like those ASMR videos where people like make noises like they come up and like... Here's my version right here. You ready for this? Twitter is full of morons. All right, carry on. Welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. Full disclosure. By the way, my name is Steve Zimmerman. My voice. Pardon me. Full disclosure. This is the second time I've recorded this episode. I know you would know no different if I said nothing. But that's just the way it is. I like being honest with you guys. I try to be as honest as possible. So now it is 8 in the morning on the 29th. I took today off. Today there's a funeral with a neighbor. Their child died of a very rare cancer. So I took the day off, not just to record the show. Well, not to record the show at all, but to show my support to my neighbors. Because it was a pretty sad deal. But the funeral isn't until a little bit later, and I decided instead of producing the show I recorded late last night, I will re-record this show and make it better. Because sometimes, you let things stew, you let things molder up there in the old Chrome Dome, and something either is worse or better. We'll see. We'll see what happens. By the way, my name is Steve Zimmerman, host of the Range Minded Podcast and 2026 nominee for Podcast of the Year Gundy Awards. I didn't win.
Bye-bye.
But that's just fine. I got nominated. That's still huge. Before I really dig into the show, I have an idea, and this might really not turn out to be so wise, but we'll see. Last year, 2025, I had the goal of hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube and 1,000 subs on Rumble. I didn't make it. I wasn't even close. So this year, I decided to try something a little bit different. Man, sorry, my eyes are dry. I'm crying. I'm crying. No, I'm not. I decided to make an investment, if you will, a little skin in the game. And it can't be done without you. Obviously, 1,000 subs, that requires individuals to absolutely subscribe to the show. So here's the deal. 1,000 subs. 1,000 subs. If we here at the podcast hit 1,000 subs, you guys know Adam Boyce, Spartan Mode. Great knife instructor, by the way. You need to really check him out and get signed up for one of his seminars. He's an MBC through Michael Janisch. Anyway, let's not nerd out too much. Let's keep focused. If I hit 1,000 subs, or when I should say I hit 1,000 subs this year, Adam Boyce from Spartan Mode is going to spray me in the face. With pepper spray. I've already purchased the little canister thing. Because it's going to happen, right? And I'll publish the video, of course. You'll get to see me snotting out spicy hot sauce boogers out of my nose and sneezing and coughing. It should be a good time. We'll see. So 1,000 subs. Here's the deal. 1,000 subs this year. Yeah. And I've already made plans for 5,000 and 10,000 subs. But let's just see how this 1,000 subs goes. And you're not going to want to miss the 5,000 and 10,000. That's just a little teaser, but we're not going to talk about that in this episode.
It's a little extra.
Baby steps, one step at a time. Okay? All right. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and let your homies know. Now, I know I just said YouTube. If we hit 1,000 subs on Rumble, Rumble's a little bit harder to get subscribers on for some reason, probably because the platform is just not populated like YouTube. YouTube's like the #1 search engine in the world. So Rumble has a long ways to go. Maybe we'll find some kind of giveaway or something to do for 1,000 subs on Rumble. Spotify, yeah, we'll figure something out for Spotify. But let's just focus on the tubes, okay? Focus on the tubes.
That's what she said.
I don't make any money on this. Even at 1,000 subs, I don't think I would make any money on this whatsoever. But we'll see. If you want to see me get sprayed in the face, like, subscribe, and share. Anywho, let's talk about what what I planned on sharing. So I had a lot of consternation about this episode. There's been a lot of things happen over the last week, 2 weeks even. Really, since the last time I produced a show, there's just so many things that had happened. And the flood of information and commentary is just ridiculous. It's a lot. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but you know me, we probably will. Besides, or I should say, man, my brain is not working. The drink of choice today is a monster. I know. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this pretty shooting in Minnesota.
That's pretty neat.
Actually, before we talk about pretty, let's say this. Full disclosure, disclaimer. I don't know how to put this. Listen, Minnesota. So the United States is broken up into 50 experiments, 50 individual experiences of a republic. And yeah, there's some democratic republic, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, there's 50 individual experiments, each trying their own thing, some of them doing better than others, some of them not doing so good for the public, or for the populace, but doing great for the government. And I think Minnesota is one of those states that seem to be doing better as a governmental organization than as a state governed by the people. A lot of the problems that are coming from states like Minnesota are due to the apathy of the voter in that state. Tim Walz, whatever the Frey guy's name is, they have. I'm distracted by my phone. I'm going to flip this over so I don't see it. They have complete power to stop what's going on. This is not a Donald Trump problem. Minnesota is not a Donald Trump problem, and it shouldn't be a national issue. It is a problem of Minnesota governance or lack thereof. When will the people of Minnesota say enough is enough and expect their governor to do the will of the people? When is it? Is it or is that the will of the people of Minnesota? Are they totally chill with illegal aliens slowly milking the system dry? And their people that they hired, and I mean the citizens, because the citizens hired Governor Walz. They hired in Minneapolis. They hired the mayor. That's the way it works. They hired them by their votes. Is that what they want? Are they cool with that? If you're in Minnesota, I want to hear from you, because this is at some point, the populace of Minnesota they're going to break. They're going to snap. I hope, anyways. I mean, I guess we're not seeing that in other states like Oregon or Washington or Colorado or Chicago. I guess that's Illinois, but you know what I'm saying. This is a voter issue, or a lack of voter issue. Maybe that's a better way to put it. And that plague is plaguing the entire country. It's Idaho, where I live, is not free from that. Right? Every state is filled with apathetic voters that just couldn't be bothered, whatever. But they don't participate, or they half-heartedly participate in an election, but they're sure happy to bitch about it when things aren't going the way that they want to.
Watch your profanity.
In my opinion, if you didn't participate in the voting process, then you have no right to complain about what's going on, because you didn't do anything. It's not too late. You can definitely go to your city council meetings or your school board meetings or whatever. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. You have the opportunity to make things better, but you have to be active about it. That's the only way Minnesota is going to be fixed, is if the people inside Minnesota say enough is enough. We've seen examples of fraud, gross fraud. We've heard of stories of suitcases full of money being flown out of Minnesota to Somalia. Great. Here's a big surprise, you folks. You ready for this? You ready for that? Hope you're sitting down. You probably are. You're probably on the toilet. That happens in every state. It just so happens that Nick Shirley went to Minnesota and found somebody who'd been working on all this fraud investigation, and Nick exposed it there. But I'd be willing to bet it is happening in every state of the union because of the laziness of the American people. You see, we've been addicted to cheap labor, cheap goods, trashy junk everywhere, on-demand society. All this stuff has added up to the laziness and the lethargicness of... The lethargicness? Is that a word? Lethargy? Of the American people, right? And I tell you, I guess, they deserve what they voted for in Minnesota, I guess. Whatever. The problem is it's hurting people in other states. It's causing a lot of dialogue on the social medias. It is just... So, Minnesota, get your act together. Fire that governor of yours. Whatever it takes. I've been to Minnesota. I've been to Minneapolis once. I spent most of my time in the hotel because I didn't really want to drive around. And this was, 10 years ago. Because there was issues 10 years ago. Like, that was about the time that the guy in the Mall of America threw the kid over the railing or whatever. Something like that happened. I can't remember. That's where I met one of the coolest dudes I ever met. Shout out to Dan Marcon with Marcon Shooting in Eau Claire, if you're up that way. Okay, so Minnesota, you got to fix your shit. And every other state in the union, you are not exempt from that same problem. All of us have issues, and we need to get them fixed. Let's talk about Pretty for just a second. My thoughts and how I feel about that. I might throw in some videos of things that Trump and Kristi Noem and Kash Patel had said. I think you've probably seen the amount of footage that I have, the same video clips, the same expressions of what I feel might be slightly anti-Second Amendment from those we have elected into office and then those who got appointed by that electorate. Let's be real, okay? I am a 2A absolutist. I will not compromise on that. Usually I am a one issue voter, and that comes down to the Second Amendment because all other amendments are protected by the Second Amendment. Speech is very powerful. Speech is crucial to a free society, and being able to say what you want to say without recourse is a major, major deal. It is very important. The ability to assemble, the ability to address the government, all those are very important. Also, the ability to worship how and where we may. Those are all tenets of a free society. Even if I don't like the way some of these people talk, or maybe I disagree with the theology of their religion, it doesn't matter. We live in a free country. As long as their actions do not impede my freedoms, they don't impede my travel, they don't threaten my way of life or my freedoms, we're all good. And maybe some of you feel the same way, maybe some of you don't. The Second Amendment does not stop at a protest. Even if I disagree with the purpose of the protest, Mr. Pretty had every right to carry that firearm where he was. Now, here's the difference. Here's the caveat. Okay? Just like we talked about this with the other last week, 2 weeks ago, with some of these other protesters carrying firearms, as untrained and lack of etiquette as they may have, they still have the right to keep and bear arms as long as, now listen along here, as long as they are not a prohibited person, if they're not a violent felon. We don't want violent felons carrying weapons of war. It's funny how the left shifted from one side to the other when it came to the Second Amendment. As long as they're not using that gun to threaten somebody, they're not threatening law enforcement. Only an idiot would point a gun at somebody who's trained, because it's not going to end out well for you. We've seen many cases of that in the past. As long as they are able and peacefully assembling, I have no problem with these individuals carrying firearms, concealed or not. And the amount of magazines it doesn't matter. Okay? Where things go awry and where the Second Amendment does not cover is if you are interfering with federal law enforcement, pointing that gun at somebody, like we mentioned before, threatening somebody, or in some ways causing some kind of mischief with that firearm that impedes on the rights of others. That is the problem. Now, the shooting with Pretty is messy. Somehow, the world on Twitter, they seem to have come to this mass conclusion that nobody has agreed on, if that makes any sense whatsoever. They've made this determination of maybe 2 minutes of footage that's from different angles, several segment angles, all compiled together, and cast judgment one way or the other. You and I were not there. We do not know the circumstances leading up to it. Now, since I've recorded this, since our last episode, since this event took place, there's been more footage of him, I guess the previous week, that appears to be him being armed and getting in the face of ICE officers, assaulting vehicles, that kind of stuff. If that's the case, it doesn't look good. And maybe that contributed to what happened to his death. I don't know, and neither do you. My concern is with harm to the Second Amendment. That is my concern. The courts will figure out the rest as far as who's involved in the shooting. Was it justified? There's some things that do not look good from the citizen standpoint regarding the things that ICE did. But I wasn't there. There's things I don't like about it. Like, I don't like that one of the ICE officers sprayed him with pepper spray and then beat him in the head with the can. I don't like that. Just the circumstances of how he shot, it does not look good. But I wasn't there. I don't know the totality of the circumstance. I'm basing all my judgment off just what I have seen. And that might be a worthless take. And guess what? It probably is, just like 99% of Twitter and their takes on this subject. It's worthless. So just understand that the guardrails of truth and they're still there. They're still there. Again, I'm an absolutist when it comes to the Second Amendment. I have no issues with him taking a gun to a protest. I have taken my gun to a protest. And guess what? I had more than one loaded magazine. Oh my gosh, I had one in the chamber too. I had a bullet in the chamber because I'm not a moron. Did I go there with the intent of using that to kill somebody? Absolutely not. Did I go there with the intent of keeping myself safe in case something happened? Yes. Well, that's not why I went to the protest, but that's why I carried my firearm, was just in case. It's like a fire extinguisher in a kitchen. It's there just in case. Now, there are many folks out there comparing this left, from the left side of the spectrum. It is spectrum. Saying that, well, look, Kyle Rittenhouse. Look at him. You guys didn't complain when he took a gun to a protest. This is apples and oranges comparison. That is not even the same thing. No matter how much you think your intellectual prowess tells you it is the same. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a property owned by his friend's dad, as far as I remember. It was like a car dealership or something, right? He went there to protect the property against rioters. Not to use force with the gun, but he took the gun just in case. Just like when I went to the protest, I carried my gun just in case something went south, to protect myself, not to shoot people. The difference is with Kyle, and during this beautiful summer of love, mostly peaceful protests in Kenosha, he did not impede on law enforcement trying to squelch the riots, because they were not protests, they were riots. He did not get in the middle of the riots and push people around and blow those frickin' whistles and all this other stuff. No, he stayed on the property until the problem came to him. And he tried to leave. You can look at the court documents. You can watch the footage. It's still available. He was trying to leave the situation when several individuals decided they were going to get violent. One had a skateboard, tried to smack him in the face with a skateboard, and he took some heat. Another child predator, who was a felon, who had a Glock, decided that he was going to point his gun at Kyle Rittenhouse, who Kyle had enough skills and wherewithal to disarm him, if you know what I mean, in two ways, actually. And I have no problems with that. Listen, they're not the same. They're not the same. Also, you know, when Kyle did that, he found the cops and he turned himself in, right? He didn't call them bitches and pigs and all this other thing. No, he cooperated with law enforcement, and he was there not to be in the way. They're not the same thing. Not at all. Now, the two things they have in common are a firearm and the Second Amendment. That's the two things they have in common, and that's it. Everything else is totally different. Now let me jump real quick to President Trump and Noam and Patel. I don't think I'm going to play. You've seen those videos. You've probably heard them a dozen times by now. It discourages me. Now, Trump had 2 or 3 statements on this. The first one is when you see him walking. I think it's Marine One or something. He's walking to the helicopter, and the press is there.
That being said, you know, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You just can't. And you can't, listen, you can't walk in with guns. You can't do that. But it's just a very unfortunate incident.
And he talks about Russia and all this other stuff, Iran. And finally, towards later in the interaction, so one of the reporters bring up the pretty little thing. Sorry, my brain is not functioning. I'm slightly mentally retarded. Where was I? Anyway, they asked him about it, and Trump says, "Look, you can't take a gun to a protest. You can't have loaded magazines. You can't do that." And then later on, I think it was the same day, there was a Fox town hall at some, I don't know, Waffle House or something.
But now I want to take you up on your invitation to talk about Minnesota. Listen, the entire country is talking about what happened this past weekend in Minnesota. You've already spoken about it. Everyone watching has seen the video. Everyone has an opinion. I'm curious what you thought when you first saw that video.
Well, I think the whole thing is terrible. I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded, and he had 2 magazines with him, and it's pretty unusual. But nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible. The other was terrible, too. And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But, I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were...
And it got brought up again. And he said something similar, but this time he said, "I don't like that he had a gun and 2 loaded magazines." And then he said something to the effect of, "It looks like he went there to cause harm." We don't know Mr. Pretty's intent. We don't. Maybe he did go there to cause harm. We don't know. And then Kristi Noem in her statement, and then the leader of ICE, or not the leader, not Holman, but the other guy.
Tend to do bodily harm and other convictions as well. This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him, and dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers, brandishing like that and impeding their work that they were doing.
They said the exact same statement about taking a firearm to a protest. Kash Patel also said something similar about how you shouldn't take a gun to a protest with loaded magazines.
And as for this latest shooting, yes, DHS and HSI are the lead, and the FBI is processing the physical evidence. So we're in possession of the firearm, which is going to go to our laboratory. But as Secretary Noem said, no one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful protest, and you do not get to touch law enforcement. You do that anywhere, this FBI is going to be leading the charge to arrest those.
Listen, that doesn't freaking matter. That's not part of the issue. The issue is the negative comments towards the Second Amendment, and they're already being clipped by the left. Gavin Newsom yesterday put some tweet up about how President Trump lost the NRA. I'm trying to do my best Newsom. I can't remember how he does his weird tics because he's a loser. But yeah, it doesn't look good. Now, President Trump could walk these statements back, or kind of at least focus them in on what the reality is. What they all should have said is something like this: he shouldn't have brought a gun to a protest because the dangers are high, and if he gets into an altercation with federal law enforcement and there's a misunderstanding, there could be an altercation. That's something like they could have said to that effect. Not that you can't take a gun to a protest. Friends, that is the exact purpose of the Second Amendment, is that we have the right to keep and bear arms, despite what Tim Pool says, to fight against a tyrannical government. Tim Pool made a stupid statement yesterday, too. You can look it up. I'm not going to spend time on that. It's just really frustrating. A funny side to this is I always forget that stupid guy's name. He's calling for Minnesota to secede. He was the wrestler. He was on Predator. Jesse Ventura. Want to hear my Jesse Ventura? I've been working on my impression of Jesse Ventura. He's a Minnesotan. He has been there his entire life. He went to high school. Me and my twin brother, we went to high school in Minnesota, and we joined the Navy, and we were the badasses. And now Minnesota just needs to secede the United States and go to Canada for our health care.
1, 2, 3, 4. Canada deserves more money.
Something like that. I just saw a stupid thing. Is that a pretty good Ventura? I guess I gotta get, when you do Jesse Ventura, you gotta know how to shake your head and say things that don't make sense. Like, listen, the moon is round, but the earth is flat, and aliens have come here and seized the brains of the politicians.
Shut up, bitch!
Something like that. Now, maybe that's a pretty lame. I just lost all 1,000 of my subscribers with that. At least the potential thereof. Anyway, that's my take on the pretty thing, and my disappointment with President Trump, at least with some of the things that he said. Now, do I still like President Trump? Yeah, I mean, I do. I voted for the guy as many times as he's ran. I don't like some of the people that he's appointed. I really do not feel like that they are really solid 2A folks. I mean, Kash, in my opinion, is a major disappointment. It looks like to me that he's all about the prestige of the appointment and not the purpose of his calling. Kristi Noem, I used to like her. I mean, I don't hate her. I really think she was put where she is just because she looks pretty. I think that's about it.
Look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at?
Pam Bondi, she's like a 40-footer, meaning she looks all right from 40 feet, but once she opens her mouth and talks about red flag laws and stuff, like she's not even a butterface. I just don't like her. I think she's a horrible person, a horrible choice for Department of Justice, or the head of the DOJ. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't think Trump has appointed some good judges. We've seen some good things come out of the courts, but we've also seen the DOJ actively, right now, as we're speaking, is actively fighting to keep the NFA put together, which is bad because Democrats have already proposed bumping up the tax stamp from $200, which it was in the 30s, to $47.50 or something. Not $47, almost $5,000, which is adjusted to inflation. And all of us that we were all talking about this back in the day, right? Throwing my mic around. Once they didn't pull the NFA in the big beautiful bill, we knew this was going to be the next play. Like we've seen this before. I don't know. Congress needs to act on that. Trump's not. I mean, he could sign an executive order, but that's not going to be any good. Congress needs to act. I know Trump signed an XO on the small arms treaty with the UN. We talked a little bit about that before in a couple episodes ago. That's great. The UN can get stuffed. We don't need their shiz in our country. I don't care for the UN. I think most people don't. At least roughly 100 million gun owners shouldn't care about the UN. Or not shouldn't care, but shouldn't like them. Yeah. Let's see. What else was I going to talk about? I was trying to think about my other episode, what I recorded. There was about 40 minutes of content that I just deleted because I didn't like it. It was pretty rough. All right, let's talk about Twitter for just a second. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at RangeMinded. I mentioned Twitter before when we were talking about this pretty case. Now, once this happened, just like the Renee Good thing, Twitter, I don't know why people are spending money going to college when they can get on Twitter and listen to all the vast spread of knowledge and intellect that is resides on Twitter. You could save, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of $1,000s on your education if you just go on Twitter and listen to the experts. And the Charlie Kirk thing, when he was assassinated, man, that was a paradigm shift for the country. I felt it. I'm sure thousands of other people felt it. It was a huge change in the way people get their information and how they retain or search it out. And it almost feels engineered. Not the Charlie Kirk thing. I don't think the conspiracy behind that is just ridiculous. I don't espouse to that, but it seems like how information is spread and retained changed a lot from that incident. And maybe it was engineered. I mean, who knows? Candace Owens could be right, or she could be really, really wrong. But once that happened, the amount of ballistic experts that came out of the woodwork was amazing. Like, I don't know how these folks aren't commanding armies, aren't developing small arms, or at least creating ammunition, because there were so many experts that knew everything and came out of the woodwork. It was amazing. And then there was after that, let's see, something else happened, and they went from that to legal experts. I mean, we had the church shootings and stuff that changed. There were a lot of theological experts that came out of the woodwork with that. Folks that probably never really spent a lot of time in church, but suddenly knew the scriptures and how one religion's wrong compared to another. The apologists, the apologetics that came out of that were amazing. And then legal experts, right, with the Renee Good thing, and now with this. With this pretty thing, like legal masterminds, like folks that just know everything.
I know more than you.
Twitter's an amazing space, full of very special individuals. Now, the reason why I bring this up is a lot of people, they hear something on Twitter, and I was in a space yesterday that was just so frustrating, as most of them become. Spaces, by the way, on Twitter is like a chat room. You can get on there, and it's all audio. You can host a space and have a bunch of people in and have a conversation. Sometimes there's some really cool spaces. Other times there's just like this one I was on yesterday, just moronic. if you're getting your news strictly from places like Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, you're getting a manipulated view. More manipulated than if you're getting it off the mainstream, which is also manipulating you. And to have these people regurgitate, just like the Charlie Kirk shooting and how everybody knew about ballistics and, 150-yard shot with it. Well, that should have been this, and this bullet would have done that. They don't know. They're just regurgitating things that they hear somebody else pretend to know about. And then they just get tribalized. And that's one thing I really hate about Spaces is it's just an echo chamber of people sharing the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, those are not my favorite spaces to be on. It's just, you need to be careful. I guess that's what I'm coming down to is don't get sucked into one place where you're getting this information. For example, this space yesterday. I've watched all the Trump footage that I've been able to pull up anyways about this pretty shooting, and Trump saying, like I said, the first time he said is, you can't take a gun to a protest, was pretty much what he said. And then in that Fox newsroom, or the one where they're at the diner or whatever, he says, I wish he wouldn't have taken a gun. Well, this lady was so adamant on this space yesterday that Trump never said you can't take a gun. He says he wish he couldn't. Lady, he said it 3 other times before that you can't take a gun to a protest, as well as DOJ and Homeland Security saying the same thing, that you can't take a gun to a protest, which is a completely protected action. And some of these folks, and I'm not anti-Trump, but I'm not diehard Trump either. And that's what was so frustrating is it's like they drank the Kool-Aid. And they mock the liberals, and the liberals mock the Republicans, saying, oh, you just... It goes nowhere. It's a circular argument it's really just circling the drain in the toilet as it's flushing. That's all it is. Stop getting sucked into, well, this person says this, so it must be right. Don't even take what I say as truth. Do your own research. Because I get things wrong. I'm human. The difference is, with me, is I'm incredibly handsome, and I'm the host of the Range Minded podcast, so there's some validity there. I have a major award that I made myself. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. Look, that's a toilet. That's funny because I referenced a toilet just a second ago. And here's one right there. What a coincidence. Anyway, it was just frustrating hearing these people just regurgitate the same stuff over and over again. Like I said, just be careful about what you're listening to. Don't get so emotionally engaged in one way of thinking. Right? Get as much information as possible and extrapolate the truth for yourself and create your own understanding of the situation. Being stuck on one side of the aisle is it clouds your judgment, I guess is the best way to put it. It was just ridiculous. And by the way, I spend too much time on Twitter. I'm a hypocrite when it comes to that. I have a group of friends on there that I hang out with, but we don't always talk politics, which is nice. Sometimes we just hang out and just chat. That's what's the fun thing about it. All right, let's settle on something a little bit more lighthearted, and then I'm going to let you guys go. This will be a little bit shorter than normal, which is fine. I'm sure you guys, your legs are going to sleep as you're sitting on the toilet watching this. I really enjoy shooting USPSA. It is a ton of fun. In fact, it's no surprise that I just love the firearms community altogether. I'm a little bummed I didn't get to go to shot this year. That's fine. It happens. I haven't been to shot for a couple of years, but I think I'm just going to reserve a hotel room very soon. So I'm just committed to go to SHOT Show. It's a ton of fun. If you have a way to get to SHOT, it's a good experience to try, but it's not just open to anybody. You can't just go to Vegas and show up. But if you can get there through the industry, maybe know somebody at a gun store or something, it's cool. It's an experience that you need to try at least once. You can't buy anything. It's not like a gun show. There is no sales. It's just what's new in the industry. But that's not what I was going to talk about. I was talking about competitive shooting. So I recently restarted shooting competitively. I've talked about this before. Here in my area, we call it's a USPSA Winter League, which is cold outside. Usually I shoot in the afternoon. They open it, so it's an all-day match basically, and you just pick a time slot, and you show up and you shoot 3 stages. It's a ton of fun. I've been shooting in the afternoon, and so the sun usually goes down in the middle of my shoots, so it gets really cold. Last week when I shot, it was really like 20 degrees, but man, it felt like single digits. It was cold when that sun went down, but it was still fun. I went and shot in a suit a couple weeks ago because I've always wanted to shoot in my suit. I guess I could publish some of those videos. Maybe I'll throw those in the B-roll here somewhere. It was fun. It was tough though, and it helped me learn something, right? And until you try things differently, you never know what your limitations are. So even though I had my gun belt on, my race belt, so I had my magazines on my left side and my firearm on the right side, right? But it was like a competition setup. You're not going to go wear your suit with your competition setup. But it was still fun. It helped me. Like the jacket would get in the way as I was trying to reload, and so like it was fun because you had to fight through these things. Now, because of that, it really screwed up my score, but it was still fun. It was a good time, and now I want to dress up differently every shoot. I think it would be hilarious. But if it wasn't so damn cold, I'd dress up in board shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. I think it'd be hilarious. But I'm not going to do that when it's like 18 degrees outside. But here's what I want to say. So training is important. You can't let your skills get stagnant. Taking a class, we talk about taking classes all the time. Finding a good class is a major deal. I have an episode on that, old episode. Maybe we should revisit that, about finding a good class and creating a critical path for your training. We probably should revisit that. That'd be another good episode. But taking a class is one thing. Standing in a static range, shooting one direction, not the band, but shooting at a target from a booth is one thing. And you can develop some good skills and some good habits by doing that. There's nothing terrible about that. But at some point, doing that is not going to help your skills. You will plateau out. And it's unfair of your critical path, if you look at it that way, in your training to do that, to just stay at the range. Now, you can go to the range, you can have a good time, you can shoot cards or have bullseye or whatever. Like, you can have fun at the range. That's not what I'm trying to say, is don't go to the range. Go to the range. Because just even trigger pressing and really paying attention to where that trigger breaks and watching your sights and making sure that all those primary components are working, that's great. But go to a competition. Go to a class. Once your skill levels, you feel comfortable in your skill levels, go to a defensive pistol class or a dynamic pistol class, whatever they're called, where there might be a little bit of move and shoot or draw, shoot, and move. You know what I mean? There might be a little bit more components in there because it helps you see the gaps in your training, where things are failing. Even competitions will help you. There's a lot of misnomer when it comes to competitions, pistol competitions, 3-gun, whatever, that you have to be this, you got to be high speed. No, you don't have to be high speed. It seems like every week when I go shoot this Winter League match, there's somebody that's never shot before. At least never shot in a match before. And so it's fun to watch them. It's okay to have never shot a competition and go shoot in a competition. At some point, everybody in the USPSA world, at some point, they've never shot a match, and that was their first match. It's okay to start somewhere. And it's not like this completely unsafe Wild West either. At least for USPSA rules, if you're shooting a match, or when you shoot the match, you have a range officer or a match director, whatever you want to call them. They're right there. They're right there next to you, making sure that everything is safe. And a good range officer doesn't miss anything. Like this last week, there was one part, the guy that was shooting before me, he was moving from one position to another with his finger on the trigger. He was moving quickly, and the range officer, she caught it. She caught it right away. And after he shot the match, or at least that stage, I mean, she pulled him aside and said, "Hey, listen, I saw you have your finger on the trigger." And he even knew it because he caught himself like 2 or 3 steps in. He's like, "Oh," and he moved his finger off the trigger. But she was on it. So it's a safe environment. It's actually, in my experience anyways, there's no judgment. They don't care how slow you go. They won't let you go faster than your skills. Like if it's unsafe, they're going to stop you. But it's fun. It's fun. Like in this case, particularly for us in the Winter League, it might be like 52 rounds in a match or something. So it's not, yes, ammo's expensive, but it's not like you're going to a big USPSA match where you need 500 rounds or something. Well, I don't know. I've never been to an area championship, but it's affordable. It's $10 for me to get in the match. If you're a member of that particular range, it's $7 to get in the match. It's not overly expensive, and it's something to do. And people are spending more than that on their lunch just to get a Wendy's burger and a large Dr. Pepper. It kind of sounds good. So anyway, yeah, get outside your comfort zone and start shooting in other ways. And if you're allowed to shoot like I was, to dress up in a suit, I'm honestly surprised they let me shoot in the suit, but it was a good time. They were all teasing me and making fun of me, and it wasn't like anything mean. It was a good time. I'm surprised they let me shoot in a suit just because the potential safety hazard, but they didn't care. I mean, there were people shooting with coats on, so there really is no different. I was freezing my butt off because I didn't put on my long johns, my thermals, and it was cold. And maybe that had something to do with my score. It was cold, though. I was shivering. I'll throw some of that B-roll up. It'll be pretty fun for you guys to watch. Anyway, I think that's it. Trying to think if there's anything I missed. Just don't forget the 1,000 subs. You can see me get pepper sprayed in the face. So make sure you tell your friends. I think it'll be a pretty funny video, and it'll be a good collaboration with Adam, because he's wanted to spray me in the face for a while too. I think he gets frustrated with me. No, he doesn't. So yeah, like, subscribe, share on all the platforms. You can find me all over the place. Don't forget socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yes, even the talk. Everywhere but X is Range Minded Podcast. X is at Range Minded. Well, that's really where I spend the most time. Feel free to follow me there. I'm going to start doing some other spaces on there because I don't like the stupid, boring spaces. I have an idea for a fun space on there. So it could be a good time. Just come and hang out there. Yeah. A couple other things I want to address is, if you're going to the range, please take somebody with you. Be the example of the Second Amendment that the world needs. Take somebody with you shooting. Be responsible. Have a good time. I also need you to stay safe. I need you to stay armed, and I need you to stay. That's right. Stay range-minded. I love you guys. Bye.
Third day, God created the Remington bolt-action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. Amen.
Twitter is full of retards.